Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by the streamingadvisor.com, and what we're doing in this video is taking a look at YouTube TV. This summer we're kind of taking a look at the cable replacement services that are out there so that people looking to cut the cord in the fall will know what is available. Now, YouTube TV is a pretty popular one, but a lot of people aren't aware of it. And a very important thing to point out right from the start is that YouTube TV is a completely different app than YouTube, just the standard app that's been around for years that people use to, watch everything from funny clips to full movies, depending on what you can find out there. If you just do a basic search for YouTube, you find, YouTube for Android TV in this case, because we're on an Android TV device. But in general, YouTube TV is available on Android TV, Apple TV, Fire TV. At the moment of this recording, it is not available on Roku stuff, although there is a workaround that we've shown. But once you get the separate YouTube TV app, and of course sign up for it, which I suggest you do during the website, you will see a YouTube-inspired TV app, as you might expect from the name. What we're going to do while we're in here is just give you a look around on the app itself and what it looks and feels like. You'll notice right from the start, the TV channels start off with what people call the local channels. They are going to include broadcast channels from your area. Which ones are you going to get? It all depends on their deals. When you go to YouTube's website and sign up for it, or it actually makes... Let me make the point that it's the YouTube TV website to sign up. You'll put in your zip code and it'll tell you which networks you're going to get. In general, if you can get that top, those top ones, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, that means that you're going to see all of your local football, basketball, college sports, things like that, local news. And that's pretty important to people. That's a real winner as far as this service goes. But as you see, there is a traditional grid, just like you might be used to with a cable service. The grid includes channels that are cable channels. Like I said, it includes those major networks. And it even includes a couple of over-the-air networks, like, say, Dabble here. Dabble is an over-the-air network that is built into this service. Besides over-the-air networks, you will also find that there are some, like Tastemade there, that are actually internet-based. Cheddar News is internet-based. I believe NBC News Now is somewhere along the lines here. And that, too, is an internet-based network that you can find, as an independent app and even in some of the other free things. Within this app, you can go along and kind of shoot forward, see what's coming on the next couple of days. I don't know just how far it goes, and it doesn't move quickly, so you can't skip and say, let's see what's going on Friday, or something like that. It's more click through, which I wish was a little different. I think it would be nice if you could skip ahead and start making a queue for your DVR, but that really is not the case. And you'll see, up in the left-hand corner, it says default. That's because technically you can change the lineup that's displayed in your grid, but you can't do it within the app. And I think that's a failing. You've got to go to the YouTube TV website and change from there. But as you see, there is a lot to like about the grid. It's familiar. It's easy enough to navigate. Though I wish it were easier to switch around from different subject matter, which you cannot. The homepage looks a whole lot like what you think of as YouTube. If you've got a YouTube app on your TV or on your streaming device, it probably looks a lot like this, with the row of top picks for you being very similar to, the suggested videos. This is going to be based on things you've been watching, so you might notice the theme of sports, action movies, and news, which is a lot of what I watch, so those top picks for me make a lot of sense. You see they've also got little subject bubbles over there, and the subject bubbles are a way of kind of queuing up things for on demand. You'll see anywhere that has a little play button, like see in the left hand corner of every little box, those are things that you can watch by clicking on. So you see when we click on Dragon Ball Z here, it allows us to look through shows that we can watch on demand. You can see when it's coming on TV. So this is going to be on the Cartoon Network. Interesting thing about Dragon Ball Z, when I was in college, every roommate seemed to have somebody everybody's roommate liked Dragon Ball Z. Everybody else didn't. It was really weird. But you see that you can add that to your queue. It also includes basics like, you see, adventure movies. You want to watch Fallen Kingdom? You click on this, it will record it when it becomes available, or you have the option to watch it. When you go to watch now, you never know what you're going to find. In some cases, it might be available. When you look at choose version, it might be available to watch on demand, which it is. YouTube is also going to invite you to buy it. Guess who you buy it from? It's YouTube. That's right, it's YouTube's app. They don't have to share with anybody. But if you can deal with that, everything's going to be all right. You'll notice in the About section, it gives you information about the plot. You can click on the cast and jump in with kind of like IMDb type information. Shows you other things that the actors are in that you can check out. It actually opens into YouTube search, which we'll show you a little later on in the video. But this is nice because you do get a feel for who's in it, what it's about, and all that sort of thing. And I always enjoy the similar section because you might be interested in other sci-fi stuff, and it'll just point you towards the other movies that link up with it. That should be pretty familiar for people who are used to streaming services in general. Now, we're going to take a look at sports in this app. And what they do with sports is cool because it's similar to what they do with TV shows and movies and things like that. It just breaks things down by the type of sport and has a very similar menu within any given sport. So you get your list of upcoming games, and this is going to be everything. This is, whatever season it is. If it's the fall, you'll see all the fall sports. Right now it's the summer, so it's the end of NHL hockey and baseball and things like that. In the sections, though, about, I like this. It shows you basic info about the team itself. Instead of, the cast list, you have, information on records and statistics. In some sports, you can look at the roster, which is kind of like the cast list. It's pretty cool. This is the NHL finals here, the Stanley Cup finals, so there's not a whole lot of upcoming hockey games, and similar is Game 6 if there is one. But that's still pretty good, and when you look at it in other sports, there's a lot to work with. Like here in the baseball, you see the win-loss record, their winning percentage. You can see their past games, upcoming, who are they playing next, and like I said, here's your roster. Now, I wish you could click on it and see like baseball card information, like, statistics, other teams these guys played for, where they went to college, stuff like that, kind of similar to an actor. It is not, and similar is just going to be, again, other baseball games starring the Marlins. But, for a limited capacity, it's really pretty cool. It kind of speaks to the integration of Google with all of its statistics and information within TV. Its On Now section is always going to show you what is on now. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, wouldn't you say? The Leagues section is great because it shows you what's going on within whatever it is that you want to follow. I know a lot of people don't like everything, but this is one of those things as far as sports that can be everything to everyone. Because you can follow the leagues, the events that you want. For instance, the Olympics coming up. Always weirds me out that it says 2020 Olympics when we really know it's not 2020 anymore, but oh well. Following teams is a really popular option for some people. Some people just have their favorites. They want to be reminded, when are the Cubs playing or when are the Lakers playing? But in general, sports is a pretty robust offering. Sports is actually a leading reason for people to have live TV services. In many cases, people can live without some of the scripted stuff, but the sports fans, it's hard to give up the big game, Sunday afternoon comes around and you want to watch the game. But in general, that whole section of YouTube TV is pretty strong. I think that it's intuitive enough and you'll see the categories make enough sense. The best thing is that it pulls programming in from all of the channels that it has. So if a show's on the Sci-Fi Channel, or it's on PBS, or it's on NBC, but they're all science fiction shows, they're all going to be in the same place to be found. That's cool. Now, if you want to get specific, you can jump into this network section down here. And within the network section, you can go into a specific channel, and you can look at what sort of on-demand material is available via that specific channel. So here in the AMC section, it lists things that are out there. Again, if you want to watch something that's totally available, you want to look for the play button. But something that I do find confusing is you'll notice this is the AMC, but you see it says AMC Plus. And this isn't an AMC Plus app, this is the AMC app. And that's a problem because, you wouldn't expect to find something listed in the on-demand section that isn't actually available on demand. See, here's another one. The Secret of Hit Comics. That is an AMC Plus program. This is an AMC Plus program. So, the fact that it's not listed in a way that's more intuitive is a disappointment. I don't know why they've done it that way. I feel like they should have an AMC Plus on demand and an AMC on demand. AMC Plus, if you're unfamiliar, is actually an extra add-on that you can put on AMC in order to watch more programming and watch it commercial free. But to conflate the two, I think is a mistake. But hey, Google must think they know what they're doing. I mean, they are Google, right? In general, though, this section is a pretty good section because it puts all of these networks that you have subscribed to via YouTube TV all in a place where you can find them. And you see that when you go into the different apps, it allows you to see a breakdown based on what they're offering. Now, everyone's different. Every single group of these shows is different in what they give you. So they're not all going to have the same types of categories, and it all depends on what does the network want to provide. Now, in general, you can't talk about YouTube TV without talking about its really impressive DVR, which we have mentioned a couple of times. And anything that you record in your DVR goes into this section up top called the library. While it defaults itself to the home screen, jumping into the library, you will find things that you have set to record, like you saw when we set up Jurassic Park: The Fallen Kingdom. And it's going to kind of keep up with the things that you're watching so that you know what it is, that's your favorite. If you don't know what your favorites are, they'll tell you, hey, this is the things you like the most. But anything that you've put into place to be recorded or put into place to watch later, it's going to be available here with all of the same information that we were taking a look at earlier. So this is nice. And it's going to organize it the way that you want it after you set it up. And over time, you can build up quite a collection of things because, like I said, it is unlimited. That is worth mentioning. Not all DVR services include unlimited DVR. Some have massive DVRs, but it's a whole big extra charge. With YouTube, that's not the case. Does that make it worth $65, $70 to you? It might. I don't know. Obviously, that's going to be cheaper than a cable subscription, even with the expensive DVR and everything else. But there's a lot that is offered within that package. With all the channels and the DVR, that's a pretty good little cable substitute. $65, $70, that's not bad. Now, within this whole program, you can also do a search, which is, of course, important. The search is, again, kind of like the prefab categories. It's a cross-platform thing. And if you set it up, you can use audio to say things like action movies. And you'll see it picks the things up. We did action movies because it suggested action movies. But in this, you have the on-demand row. And you can see what sorts of things are available just to watch without having to buy it. Now, that's nice. But what I don't like about it is that you just get that row, that kind of boring 1 row, 2 rows of content. I like apps a little more when they blow up like they do with the prefab section, where you have action movies, buddy action movies, sci-fi action, things like that. We asked for buddy cop here, and you see it pulls up maybe 4 or 5 things, but I was thinking more along the lines of Lethal Weapon. So we'll ask for Lethal Weapon, and here are the Lethal Weapon movies, rent or buy, rent or buy. It looks like there are some options that don't require to rent it, but if you want to see what else is like Lethal Weapon, that's where the similar thing comes in. So this is the sort of thing that I expected to find. I would expect to maybe find another 48 Hours or something along those lines. But here's more buddy cop type movies because Lethal Weapon is that kind of a movie. So it doesn't have as exact a search as some things do, but it does get you started. But I don't think that, oddly enough, that the content discovery is as strong as it could be. Look for Conan the Barbarian. Let's see what it suggests with Conan the Barbarian. Like, for instance, if you couldn't remember the name of Red Son, and you're like, what's that movie? Where it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and there's some lady barbarian. You might try to go into similar and see if it's available. It doesn't look like it is. But, again, it does lead you towards things that are similar. I would hardly put the Mockingjay down there on the same level as similar to Conan the Barbarian. Now, can you look for something like Barbarian movies on its own? Let's see. Barbarian movies. Alright. Barbarian movies, it pulled up directly The Barbarian and the Troll. I don't think that's what you're probably looking for. And they only had similar movies to that. So the YouTube search does not pull things up by subject. You can't just do princess movies or adventure movies or anything and just get everything that you're looking for. You see that it does provide some things, but it's not super exact. We did a search for war movies there. And again, you might think war movies. You would maybe expect to see a category like World War II movies, World War I movies, ancient war movies. But more what it does is look for movies with the word war in them. So Marvel Civil War could show up with Ken Burns' Civil War, depending on what you're looking for. So in general, the search is strong, but it might just be a little bit limited. Now, in the section here where you see the $, what this is things that you can add to YouTube that are just basically separate apps. It's not going to build everything into the YouTube app, but what it is going to do is build the bill into your YouTube TV bill. And for some people, that's a big plus. Just less things to keep up with. Even though for the most part it's all some sort of an automatic draft on your credit card, it is easier to keep up with how much you're paying for TV in general if you know that HBO Max is built into your YouTube along with other things. You just want to make sure that you don't add something on YouTube that you've already got access to, because you'll just get double charged. It's not going to replace anything. If you add HBO Max or the Dove channel or whatever in on YouTube TV and you've already got a subscription, what you're going to end up with is being charged for the Dove channel twice or HBO Max twice. So be careful with that. YouTube TV is a pretty strong offering. It's not the most expensive offering on the block. It certainly is not the least expensive offering on the block. But for a lot of people, it's a happy in between. The strengths for most people are that you do get those local channels or local major networks and the large DVR, the unlimited DVR. If those two things are deal breakers for you, as far as you have to have it in order to be happy, then YouTube TV is a pretty strong starting point for anybody looking to cut out, your $120, $150 a month cable bill and go with something internet-based. You just want to make sure that you have a device that handles it. Till next time, I'm Ryan Downey, the Streaming Advisor. Please subscribe and share this with your friends. And as always, stream on, my friends.